to that male mayhem today. Okay. So something I've noticed. People are very rude.
Caution,
very mean.
unpaved road.
And they just don't know when to keep their mouths shut when they're upset. So today's topic is choose your battles. I understand that people get heated up and they say things that they don't mean, but you know what? Those words, no matter how many times you ask for forgiveness, those words are still in the back of their mind and knowing that you said them and that you'll say them again. Violence isn't always physical. You can say some pretty mean shit to somebody, like rotten to the core crap, and then you gotta worry about the emotional damage it causes. I mean, just imagine you have a terrible argument with someone you really love, and the last words that you said to that person was that, because that person ended up passing away or moving away or something, something on that note. It's not nice. When you're going to deliver your feelings to somebody, you gotta make sure that you say it just right. And this is not to be manipulative. No. This is to where you don't hurt somebody intentionally. When you go out of your way to hurt people intentionally, we're gonna call you what you are. You're an asshole. People don't deserve to be hurt. They don't deserve the name calling. They don't deserve to have their butt chewed on a daily basis. They don't deserve anything negative. Yeah, don't mind me. I have my blanket propping my phone. Side, please. I'm running very late. That's all right. So I'm one of those people. You guys are okay? Hi. I'm one of those people that if you can't say something nice, it's probably best that you say nothing at all until you've calmed down. Because once it's said, like I said, it's going to be very hard to retract. Do you really want to go out of your way to hurt someone that you claim that you love? Probably not. So I have dealt with people in the past that have said some pretty rotten stuff to me. And I'm thinking to myself, well, that's almost the equivalent of a slap in the face. I think I would have rather taken the slap in the face than that whole line of garbage that came out of your mouth. I dated a very verbally abusive dude. I couldn't do anything right, and he told me how terrible I was this and terrible that, but then he'd get drunk. And it would be one of those times where it's like he'd either get drunk or he'd be sober and he'd be doing it. So this guy, so me hearing these terrible things that would come out of this guy's mouth would have me believe that he absolutely hated me. Now, whether he hated me or not is irrelevant at this point. But if he ever comes across these videos, I hope he understands that the reason why I didn't give him any full opportunity to love me was because of his being verbally abusive. Name calling, very foul tone, all those things add up to verbal abuse. When you say something out of anger instantly, that is being verbally abusive. There's no ifs and buts about it. That is exactly what it is. If you can't curb your mouth, probably shouldn't be talking so much. When you open up your mouth, always remember that you would rather have love spill out of your mouth than hate. Something that I made a point to, and I guess it didn't help because of my tone of voice when I would say it. I'd raise my voice to the children, but I wouldn't say anything that I felt that would detrimentally affect them. I didn't call them stupid. I didn't call them idiot. I didn't call them, now I'd hear them call each other that, and that would drive me absolutely insane. But I understand sibling rivalry goes to a certain point. Like, they're your personal punching bag, but nobody else can do it kind of thing. I get that. I understand that. Do I agree with it? Not really. But you know what? The dynamics of family and relationships and everything like that, they all have their little quirks that just seem to work for people. And, unconditional love shows how much forgiveness is intact for your loved ones. And then it comes across those that they just keep pushing that button of disrespect. You gotta do what you gotta do to save yourself from being emotionally harmed and going through what I call an emotional hazard. Once your relationship hits an emotional hazard, that's because, it's no longer safe. You don't feel safe with them. You don't want to be around them and stuff. No contact is in order. Now, no contact means exactly what it means. No contact, that means you don't text them. You don't see them. If they try and talk to you, you don't ignore them, but you make it to where you are unavailable to see them. And like I said, I believe people are capable of changing, because the same guy that was verbally and physically abusive to all his previous female partners, this guy has been with men too. I think he gets along better with dudes than he does females, but that's my personal feelings. This guy is now in another relationship. It was shortly after me, so I knew obviously that she was in the picture. And he was friends with my ex-husband. It all just seemed to correlate to a you don't get to love me moment. You know what I'm saying? It all just got to the point where I was like, this is too much. And not only was he one of those very abusive guys, but he was also not a very masculine guy. Like, he had a voice of a bitch. Seriously. His voice was so annoying. It was so pretentious and just something I really did not enjoy the company of. Wasn't very pleasurable in bed. He was very selfish in bed. Ended up being where I ended up sharing him with a coworker. It was just all the no's in one big package. And it wasn't even big, but like it was like huge red flag city. I gave him his opportunity. He isn't who I wanted. And he could sense it. And he started doing the whole push away thing to be with this other girl, and he was very foul about it. I mean, he got so close that our mutual friend at that time had to step in the way to keep him from punching me in the closet in his bedroom. Because that's why I ran to when he was out on the back deck punching his walls, his like the brick walls, or no, not the walls. What was it? He ended up punching something where he bloodied his knuckles, and I was like, I'm out. I called a very good friend, to come and soothe the situation down, because I had been drinking and I wasn't feeling safe to drive. When a relationship gets to this point, that is at the point of no return. Not even change behavior would make somebody want to go back to that. When you get to a point where you want to be physically abusive, verbally abusive, and just a downright dick to your partner, that is you saying that you don't want them and that you don't want them to be around you. People that ever came to that conclusion, maybe there would be less fights of this nature. They wouldn't be so inclined to be a dick. And this is women too. Women are just as abusive. I was one of those women. I had a lot of anger in me. I had anger issues. And it didn't help that I have a thyroid disorder that fluctuates my hormones. And maybe be like the biggest bitch of the East or the West, you think of the witch well, I was one of the biggest bitches you ever came across. Especially when I was feeling unappreciated, undervalued, and when guys would do that whole I'm going to create a window to step out on you bullshit. I didn't handle that very well, because I made them realize by the time they started doing that, I didn't want them. I didn't want them to be a part of my life. I didn't want anything to do with them, because not only were they jeopardizing the relationship, but at that time they were jeopardizing my health. And I'm not down with that. I mean, in the past I've jeopardized my own health, but now I've known better, and I choose not to. Clean my windows. It's terrible. I mean, this guy really didn't care about me, because just the way that, he was treating me, like, he didn't bench me, but like, he gave me a key to his house and everything, and told me I could show up whenever. But then when he started talking to a girl that was having issues with her guy, she started confiding in him, and they got close while he was with me. And this is while he's at work, because I remember when he would ask me, anytime you have to order something, by all means, please have it delivered to my job. And I thought that was interesting. I'm like, oh, okay. And the girl was a delivery person. And the way the things went, he asked me, before he got with this girl, he asked me, how would you feel about becoming Mrs. So-and-so? And at that time, we were doing really good. And I said, I like the sound of that. As soon as I had said that, As soon as that conversation happened, another woman was in the picture. And I get to see her when I'm on the road. I don't even acknowledge her. I mean, I don't have the feeling to acknowledge her. But the situation, it really shouldn't even happen altogether. This was a guy that I ended up stepping out on my fiance with. Now he didn't become my fiance until after the situation that had taken place. It was like, I don't know. And then my fiance ended up going to another woman because I pushed him into the arms of another woman, and I own that. And so I got with the guy that was sent to wedge through my my relationship. Do I believe it was sent? Yes, I do. He was all over some of my court paperwork. He was a friend of my ex-husband's. He would talk so much shit about my ex-husband, but then I would find out that they were at the lake together with my daughter. You know? And then I was this and that when he was drunk. So he had a drinking problem and he had anger issues. Bad mix. Step away from that. It's like the most terrible thing you could do to your relationship. And it is extremely unsalvageable. Because they show themselves so early to where they're just going to try and find some way to get away from the abuser. When I lose my cool and I fuck it up, I serve them on a silver platter. I own my shit. I've calmed down and I've dealt with my issues to where I'm no longer angry. I've been dealing with peace now for 2 years, almost 3. So I mean, I've been handling it. Like I said, I had a lot of hands in the cookie jar going on, and I had to start picking and flinging out of my life to where I just upped and disappeared on everybody because I didn't know who to trust. I didn't know who to believe. I didn't know if there was any way that I could continue with not only forgiving, but to have these people in my life. And I came to the conclusion, you can have my forgiveness, but you won't have me in your life. You need to know when you're ready to step out of your comfort zone and step away from everybody that has betrayed you, hurt you, and you no longer want in your life. You have that right. And don't feel a bit bad about it. I don't. People knew what they were doing when they made those conscious choices to be a part of something they had no business to be a part of. And I'm just to the point, I'm happier away from those people. And I don't feel a bit remorse for how things went down. If I could be someone's karma, great. Why? Because they fucking deserved it. So just remember, when you want to talk to somebody, be nice. Don't get angry. Don't get upset. Don't be a jerk. If someone comes out of their way, even unexpected, uninvited, to your home, the last thing you need to do is act like a complete ass. You need to be calm and rational when talking to people that are upset. Don't egg them on. Don't fuel the fire. Like I said, you need to become water at these moments. Because whatever you do and say cannot be retracted. Once it's done, it's done. Now it's your job to pave, to make things better. If you can't make things better, give them peace. Alright, people. I've got a lot going on in my mind and in my heart. So if I seem a little down, it's true, I am. I received some news that has me very upset. And I'm keeping it together. Choose your battles. Know when to surrender and give up, and know when to fight on a strategic mental level, not a physical. And just hope for the best. Hope for a pleasant outcome, less casualties. And that at some point that there is a resolve whether you stay together or not. On that note, everyone, be safe.